There's been a very encouraging development happening at Bengals training camp, and in this video, I'll explain why it was the best thing that I saw in person. Hi again, Bengals fans. John Sheeran of A to Z Sports Cincinnati here, and we've seen a lot out of Bengals training camp over these past 2 weeks. We've seen Joe Burrow look like Joe Burrow in midseason form. We've seen Jamar Chase and T. Higgins completely locked in, not worried about their futures or their contract situations. We've seen big jumps from Andre Yosivas and Jermaine Burton. We've seen Noah Fant start practicing with the team. That's cool. We've seen Dylan Fairchild starting to hold his own at the left guard spot just as a rookie. You've got flashes from Chris Jenkins Jr. and Joseph Asai and Miles Murphy on the defensive line. Demetrius Knight Jr. and Barrett Carter look completely comfortable playing in space as new linebackers. And Jordan Battle is talking the talk and walking the walk at safety. It's been a very promising and encouraging 2 weeks here in Cincinnati, but nothing is more encouraging than what I've seen in the last week, specifically with the defensive line, even with someone who's not even practicing. Because when Shemar Stewart signed his rookie contract and then reported to Bengals training camp, everybody knew that he was going to be light years behind everyone else in terms of knowing what to do. And despite that learning curve, he has shown all of us why the Bengals took a chance on him in the first round in the first place. Because he just looks and moves completely different compared to everyone else who is lining up on the Bengals defensive line right now. His get off, his explosion, his bend has surprised me a lot. I just kind of pegged him as a straightforward speed to power type of guy, but he is turning the arc a lot better than I would have expected at this stage in his career. So already on the field, albeit just in simulation and practice scenarios, he looks a lot better than what I would have expected him to be. But not even that has been the most encouraging thing about what's going on with him specifically. Because it's not just Shemar Stewart who made a grand entrance to Bengals training camp last week, it was also Trey Hendrickson. And the work that those two are doing together when the ball is not snapped, that is what encourages me the most. Because Hendrickson is doing exactly what he said he wanted to do when he first returned to Bengals training camp last week. He is helping out the one teammate of his that needs it the absolute most. And I saw it firsthand when I was down at training camp last week. It was the very beginning of practice and the entire defensive line was going through individual drills, and Trey Hendrickson was basically in lockstep with Shemar Stewart, giving him tips, giving him pointers, telling him where he needs to put his hands, where he needs to adjust in his process. And that has been a constant since both Hendrickson and Stewart have been back at camp. Because I guarantee you, even if this is a new defense with a new defensive coordinator, Trey Hendrickson is Trey Hendrickson. He's going to know what to do when week 1 rolls around, and hopefully he'll be under a new contract at that point. It's not important for him to get these reps in right now. It's obviously important for him to stay in football shape, and I hope that he's doing that when he's not at Bengals training camp. The most value that he can provide to the team right now is to be of service. And by preserving his body, he can then focus all of his energy on helping out the guy that really needs it right now. Because if Shemar Stewart learns a quarter of all the nuances that Trey Hendrickson utilizes as a pass rusher himself this year, he can be a hell of a lot more productive than any one of us is expecting. Because Hendrickson doesn't really win with raw athleticism. He wins with a lot of power, with a lot of leverage. He knows where to place his hands. He knows how to get under the pads of an offensive lineman. He knows how and when to disengage and to stack other moves. All of the things that Shemar Stewart doesn't necessarily do well right now. But that's the whole point in investing in a guy like Stewart, because he has all the things that Trey Hendrickson, I bet, wished that he had when he was 21 years old. Because if he did, I promise you he wouldn't have been a third-round pick out of Florida Atlantic. A to Z Sports Zone Ryan Roberts told me the other week that he loved the fit between Stewart and Cincinnati, specifically because Stewart can learn under Hendrickson. One guy who possesses every technical aspect that you need to rush the passer, and the other guy who possesses all the athletic traits that you need to rush the passer. And if Hendrickson wasn't going to practice, then this was the best way that he could be of service for this team. He hasn't been a distraction. No, he's been the exact opposite. He's been a huge help for one of the few guys that can actually make a true difference on this team. And no matter what kind of fan that you find yourself to be, everyone can find optimism in that.